Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is
every single day. I'm gonna make something great.
Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Adetola Abisola. I'm a mother of two. I'm married to my husband, Mr. Adewale Adetola. I'm a Nigerian, and I opened this YouTube just mainly because I have passion in counseling people. So today I'm going to be telling you, first of all, that in this video I stand to be corrected. Everybody needs knowledge. I want to gain from you just like you're gaining from me as well. So today I'll be talking to you about the topic advice in relationship and marriages. Advice is what you suggest for somebody to do in a certain situation. So I tell people that we have healthy advice and we have unhealthy advices. I tell people that the healthy advices are the advice given to you from the pure depth of mind, from an experience one person or the other have gone through, from an older person, and then from advice is what we get from the young, the old, the poor, the rich, people of your caliber, and the ones that are not even up to your standard. And so I would say that advice is very, 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 very sensitive, and at the same time very important in the way you interact and do things in life. So I would say relationships. Let me talk about single relationship first. Talk about relationships first. So advice is something that is very important, because everybody is not equal. Everybody at some point in his or her life needs an advice. No matter how perfect you think you are not too big or young to be given to seek for an advice. So in relationships, there are good advices and there are bad advices. So I'll take the good advice first and the bad advices first. The bad advices are the advice that people give to you without being in your shoes. I realize that in relationship entails both men and women, and in relationships you tend to, when you want to seek advice from people, I tell people the first thing that you should do is to confide only in the person. I mean, you tell the person virtually everything that happened in that area, and you need, because if you give an half explanation to people, you might not get a good advice from somebody. And at the same time, I tell people that advice, at times you get some emotional advice, and you get the advice that are straightforward, that are just like that. Emotional advice are the ones you get from your parents. They advise you on what to do out of love, and the fact that they gave you the advice out of love doesn't mean that they're right for you to follow. The thing is, in marriages, not all couples are the same. Not all marriages are the same. So when you're giving advices to people, I feel that if the ones when you're being advised, I feel that number one, who you seek your advice from is very important. Your mom, your dad, your siblings, your parent is very important. When you seek advice from people that do not understand your plight, you get a wrong advice from them. When you talk with your parents, most times, especially when it comes to marriages, every parent wants the best for their children. So when you seek advice from your parents, at times they are not always logical. They just want to say things because they love you. They just want to say things because they feel your pain, they feel your aggression. So in relationships, advice is key. Advice is always very good, provided it's a good one. But the other way around, advice can be also bad if not given in a right way. So How do you seek an advice from somebody? I tell you that if you want to seek advice from a human being like you, always put it in mind that that person is also a human being. That person is not a god. That person is not an idol. That person is just going to give you that advice based on what you tell them. So, and that is where I tell people that when you want to seek an advice from people, make sure that that person you want to seek advice from is a good listener. Make sure that that person you want to talk to, that person you want to confide in, is a trustworthy person. Make sure that that person is also very, very intelligent, because you cannot give what you don't have. So when you seek advice from elderly people, expect them to give you illustrations, expect them to talk to you in the way you understand because of the experience they have in that particular cases. So in relationships, I tell you, when you seek advice from somebody, make sure that person you're seeking advice from is also in a healthy marriage or healthy relationship. You cannot get a good advice most times from people that are not emotionally stable. When you seek advice from that kind of person, the person just wants to talk out of anger, out of annoyance, maybe because of what they are presently going through too, and they just don't want you to feel the same way. That's very important for you to look into. And I would say that when you want to also seek an advice, make sure that you tell the person the whole story. Don't give that person a half story. Don't lie to the person, because if you lie to the person or give the person the story, or you paint the story the way you want it to sound like, that person is not going to give you a good advice because you didn't state the facts correctly. So you need to always be in your right state of mind to seek an advice from somebody, because if you don't, you would just want to pick the ones that you feel are helpful to you, even when they are not, and dump the main ones. So that's it. Then another thing I need you to do is that when you seek advice from people, make sure you're ready to listen. People give advice, but most of us find it so difficult to yield to advice. When you seek for an advice from person, be ready, not just talk. Some people just go to people to advise them because they just want to talk. Most of people we get around give you advice, and you, at the end of the day, you don't follow them because you felt this person is not. Don't seek advice from the person you feel is not worthy to give you advice. I tell people, there is nobody who can give you advice. You can get advice from your young, the old, female, male, your co-workers, your husband, your pastors. You can get advices everywhere. You can just turn on your television at home or your radio and just listen to a particular topic at that particular time, and that person passes an advice to you directly or indirectly. So it is now left for you to implement those advice. At the same time, I tell people that relationships and marriages are not the same. We all need to get that right. The fact that don't go to somebody because you feel the person is not worthy to have a particular healthy relationship, and the person is having it, I just feel, let me just go and ask this person how she does it. No, go to people that you feel you can gain from. Go to people that, you know, when they talk, they think before saying anything. Just don't go to people that just think out of the box or always irrational when they think. So I would also say that in relationships, you need to consider the fact that there is something different from every relationship or every marriages. There is that particular secret to every successful relationship or marriages. So when you want to seek advice from the person. It's your right to get home, digest whatever the person might have said to you. You don't have to implement an advice immediately. When you think about it that way, you'll be so fast about it. Not all advices are good for you. The fact that somebody did something and it works for the person does not mean it's going to work for you, or it's not going to work for you. So in life, you need to be very, very, very careful about, because you own the stomach, you know if it's fully fed or not. So I say that when you want to seek advice from people, make sure you're ready to listen, because if you don't listen, it will make a lot of sense to you. Then finally, I would say that in life, everybody needs an advice. I need an advice, you need an advice, but the only responsibility we both have is for us to think about that advice before using it. If you take your time to think and think deeply before you use an advice, you'll be able to picture the good and the bad advices. That person does not necessarily have to be right with what he or she speaks, because feelings is different from you just talking. You are the one in the shoes. You are the one who knows your spouse. You are the one who knows what is lacking in your relationship. So it is your own responsibility to get home, take a good shower, rethink about what the person might have told you. At that time, the person might not make sense to you, and when you eventually get home, you feel, come on, this is actually what I need at this time. And somebody might even give you advice out of feelings, out of emotional trauma, out of pity, and feels that should be the next or the best thing for you to do. No, not all advices is healthy in relationship. So you need to be very, very careful with whom you seek advice from, and those you advise. So if you find this video very helpful, please subscribe to my channel and give my channel a thumbs up. See you in my next video. Thank you so much. I love you. Good day.